Welcome back, fellow internet adventurers. Get ready for another wild ride through Reddit's strangest stories. We're diving deep into the internet's quirkiest corners. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Let's get started. I, a 31-year-old male, have been married to Lucy, a 30-year-old female, for over 3 years. We were perfectly happy, or so I thought. I treated her to a makeover for her last birthday, and I guess that was about when things started to change, or at least when I noticed it. My wife has 3 makeup looks: a quick errand-running look, an office look that takes 15 to 20 minutes, and a date/event look that takes 30 to 45 minutes. When we were dating, all I saw was the date look, and she was quite stunning most of the time. She is usually in the office look unless we go out, then I get the date look, and on weekends, she's typically in errand mode. This is what tipped me off that something was amiss. She started wearing her date look to work once a week, and sometimes when she would go shopping on the weekend. I commented on it one night, and she said she only did it on special days when they took clients out to lunch or had meetings. I noticed that on days when she dressed up, she tended to be late coming home, usually with the excuse of having to work on a project. A couple of weeks ago, I took my car down to get the oil changed and stopped on the way home to run it through the car wash. I decided to give it a good vacuuming while I was there. While cleaning the trunk, I noticed a small bag off to the side. Inside were her toiletries and makeup, plus some clothes. At first, I assumed it was her gym bag, but there was a used and dirty lingerie set in there, and my heart sank. I didn't say anything when I got home and started doing some chores around the house, trying to make sense of it all. I finally took an eye tag off one of our suitcases and put it deep down into a pocket of her bag in the trunk. My work wife, Susan, has become one of my wife's closest friends, and we talk about almost everything, including things you shouldn't share with a coworker of the opposite sex. I told Susan about the change in Lucy's makeup habits and her working late. I asked Susan if she thought Lucy could be stepping out on me. Susan's denial was swift and absolute. She insisted that Lucy wasn't cheating on me and was just doing it for more self-confidence. Susan has a nervous tell when she is stressed about something, and after working with her for 8 years, I knew she wasn't being truthful. I didn't mention finding the bag in Lucy's trunk. A couple of days later, Lucy got in the shower with me and started playing with me, and after we got out, she gave me a BJ. I usually get a BJ from my wife on my birthday, our anniversary, and around Christmas. That's it. Now my head is spinning, and I check the bag in the trunk. It has fresh clothes and a different piece of lingerie in it. On Saturday morning, Lucy says she's going shopping and grabbing lunch at the mall. I told her to give me a second, and I would go with her. She said she was shopping for clothes and knew how I hated that, but I said I didn't mind spending extra time with her and might look for a new dress shirt while I was out there, needing her opinion. She was clearly aggravated, but I was persistent, and we went shopping. The next week, I put a note in the bag. When I came home on Thursday, she was acting different. I asked if she would be home on time, and she wasn't sure but said she would call me if it looked like she might have to stay late. At 2 p.m., I saw her location had changed and was moving away from the house. I tried to call her, but it went to voicemail, and I got a text saying she was in a meeting and would call me later. I sent her one back, saying I was in the neighborhood and thought I would bring her a snack and a latte. The AirTag now shows her heading back to the office. I picked up her latte and a sticky bun and arrived at her office just in time to see her rush to the door. I found her inside, dropped off the latte, and mentioned I would see her at home later. By 3 p.m., she was heading away from her office in the same direction as before. I sent her a text saying I love you, accompanied by a big heart emoji. A couple of minutes later, she replied with a me too. The bag stopped moving, and after about 10 minutes, I tried to FaceTime her, but she didn't pick up. Shortly after, she started blowing up my phone with texts asking me to please answer. When she got home, she asked me how long I had known. I told her I had wondered when she started changing her makeup routine, but wasn't sure until a couple of weeks ago when I found the bag in the trunk. I told her to inform Susan that she was a bad liar. I said the divorce would be friendly, and she could then have her new lover without me in the way. She asked if there was any way I could forgive her and avoid the divorce. I asked her for the whole truth, how long and with whom she had been cheating. She said it had been a couple of months and asked why it mattered who it was. I replied that I didn't want to accidentally shake the hand of the man who ruined my marriage. She finally revealed it was a coworker and gave me his name. I made her call him and hand me the phone. I introduced myself and said I knew everything. He should confess to his wife before she finds out from me, and then I hung up. I told Lucy she needed to block him and cut all contact, but she said she had to work with him, which would be impossible. I said I couldn't see any way this could work if she didn't. I told her I was done talking, and she needed to think about how she was going to fix this. I was level-headed enough to record her confession on my phone in case she tried to change her story later. The next morning, I left early and waited for my boss outside his office. I told him I couldn't work with Susan anymore for personal reasons. After talking to our boss, Susan confronted me in the hall, demanding an explanation. I told her she lied to me about knowing what Lucy was up to and that I was onto her. I said I couldn't work with someone like that anymore. She apologized and claimed she told Lucy to end her affair before I found out for sure. I replied that I wished that made it better, but it would just be another lie. In short order, I lost my best friend and possibly my marriage. I found her coworker's wife's contact info, and I'm sending her a copy of Lucy's confession tomorrow, just in case. I have an appointment with a lawyer to discuss my options tomorrow. My wife still insists that we can get past this, but has yet to talk about why it happened in the first place. I feel shell-shocked, and while I don't want to get divorced, I can't imagine a way forward. I had a busy morning and a good chat with the lawyer. He gave me some advice, a worksheet to fill out, and a list of do's and don'ts. We have a longer meeting scheduled for Friday, but he will start the paperwork today. He warned me that informing the other wife may come back to bite me. At work, my boss hit me with a short list for Susan's replacement that I have to interview and decide on as soon as possible. I received a long email from Susan apologizing for everything and wanting to meet for lunch to talk. My boss hasn't said anything, but the rumor mill is going crazy about Susan getting kicked off my team, and the amount of butt kissing around me is ridiculous. Lucy was called into HR before lunch and has been put on a performance improvement plan. It seems her affair partner turned in his resignation this morning and, in an exit interview, threw Lucy under the bus, claiming they had been having an affair on company time. She is terrified she's going to get fired now. If she gets fired, it will change the terms of the divorce, so the lawyer was right about AB biting me. As far as the accolades for my being calm and handling this so well, I should say I have lost 7 pounds in the last week, and nothing I eat stays in me very long. I don't sleep more than 3 hours at a time, and I'm worried when I have to drive. I've called my doctor, and he prescribed me something to help me sleep, but he wants to see me tomorrow and run some tests, including an STD screen. Lucy and I are sleeping in separate rooms. I haven't mentioned divorce yet, and we have a couple of therapists we are seeing Monday afternoon. Well, talk about a makeover leading to a breakover. It's like she took the phrase New Year, New Me, a tad too literally. Who knew makeup could be the ultimate relationship barometer? If only there was a makeup tutorial on how to conceal infidelity. Maybe she thought a smoky I could hide the shady affairs. Susan should have majored in deception instead of whatever she does at work. But hey, at least now you know who not to trust with your secrets, especially if they involve lipstick and lies. As for Lucy, she's playing a risky game of office romance roulette. Mixing business with pleasure is a surefire way to get a pink slip and a divorce decree all in one go. And her coworker really took the saying, leave work at work, to a whole new level, straight to HR. But hey, at least you're shedding pounds faster than a shedding cat, though I'm guessing it's not exactly the weight loss plan you had in mind. Who knew marital stress could be the ultimate diet? Lots to unpack, so I'll try to be brief. Sunday dinner with Lucy's parents. They are very conservative. Toward the end of the dinner, she said we were going to counseling because she got caught cheating with a coworker. Dad grilled her at the dinner table and later yelled at her behind closed doors. Lucy cried most of the way home, saying that her dad now hated her since all communication from her mom has been through Lucy's sister. Therapy for me felt like taking a test where I had all the answers and already knew my grade. Lucy finally provided a timeline of the affair, and then I got to ask some questions. Did she do anal? How many times did she blow him? Since it was always rationed for me, how many times did they meet? Did she use condoms? How many times did I get? Sloppy seconds? Was he bigger than me? Who knew? Did they trash talk me while they were screwing? Did you lick his butt? There were others, but you get the idea. I didn't believe her answers because I couldn't trust anything she said now. I finally had a chance to tell Lucy how I felt, and we discussed a few things she needed to do, like confessing to both our parents about what she did. Our therapist talked about what we needed to do going forward and gave us advice on what to consider before our next session, but that was about the extent of our conversation before we ran out of time. I will say one positive thing. She never blamed me for the affair or said I wasn't fulfilling her needs, forcing her to seek them elsewhere. The FaceTime with my parents went great compared to hers. They were both pretty stoic when she told them. My dad did say he was very disappointed in her decision-making. That's as close as my dad gets to calling someone the W word. I told a few of our friends the details, making sure that a couple of them were the type to do the work for me. Lucy has been beside herself answering questions from all her friends. She has made me some ludicrous offers. An open hall pass, opening the marriage, and other sexual favors. I told her 2 wrongs don't make it right, and I wasn't the one who wanted an open marriage. Tomorrow is Thursday, D-Day, and she gets served her divorce papers around 9 a.m. What I wouldn't give to have a video of her getting served and seeing the look on her face. Why isn't that a service the process servers offer? I was waiting until after tomorrow to update this post in a new one. Should I create a new update post, or simply add it to this one? Let's see how their community is reacting to the story thus far. First up, I wouldn't let her back in bed with you until she gets tested, and you need to get tested as well. Unless you two have children together, I would insist she move out for the time being. Plan on starting divorce proceedings, and you can always change your mind later, but it shows her that you are serious about her wrongdoing. I think you should cut your losses and move on. The next person says it amazes me how someone who supposedly loves their partner can treat them this way. The amount of effort required to lie, manipulate, and deceive their partner should never be underestimated. Best of luck if you try reconciliation. Given your circumstances, I would never entertain the idea. Get out and find someone who loves and respects you. FYI, Susan was never your friend. She just used you. Well, the OP updates in the comments. I know that the fair partner's wife got my message. Lucy's phone is blowing up. It would seem the fair partner's wife heard the recording and has packed up her 3 kids and moved to a hotel. After she talks to a lawyer, she is moving in with her parents 200+ miles away. She left a voicemail that would make a pirate blush. We'll talk about a family dinner that left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. If only they had served shots of truth serum instead of gravy, and therapy sessions didn't turn into Q&A sessions. Yikes. There are just some things I don't need to know. As for those ludicrous offers, it's like she's trying to bargain her way out of a cheating scandal. That's like a Black Friday deal. An open marriage? More like opening Pandora's box. A fair partner's wife's reaction sounds like she's ready to raise some hell, or at least relocate to a hotel room with enough privacy for a good old-fashioned angry voicemail session. Oh boy. Update recap. I caught my wife, Lucy, having an affair with a married coworker. I put a note in her bag saying, "Come home." I know. She got home and confessed to seeing him for over 2 months and begged for forgiveness. She said she would do anything to stay together. I made her call him and handed me the phone. I introduced myself and said, "I know everything. You'd best confess to your wife before she finds out from me," and I hung up. I had recorded my wife's confession and sent a copy to his wife. I told Lucy she had to confess to both our parents about what she did. My parents were upset, but her parents practically disowned her. The next day, her affair partner went to work early and turned in his notice. Before leaving, he threw my wife under the bus and confessed most of their rendezvous happened during uncompany time. I met with a lawyer and got divorce proceedings underway. We do go to therapy, where I get to ask a lot of uncomfortable questions and let her know how badly she hurt me. Afterwards, she made me some ludicrous offers. An open-ended hall pass, opening the marriage, and other sexual favors. I told her 2 wrongs don't make it right, and I wasn't the one who wanted an open marriage. Last Thursday, she confronted me, and I avoided her phone calls all day. I had a neighbor couple over when she arrived, and they witnessed the tantrum she threw. She hurled several items at me while yelling and screaming. The police were called and arrived just in time to see her throw a glass at me. After hearing the story from all 4 of us, they asked if I wanted to press charges, which I declined. They told her she needed to find somewhere else to spend the night and escorted her while she packed a bag. Her sister showed up and took her back to her apartment. Upon learning about the events at my house, my lawyer wasted no time in obtaining a restraining order against my wife. When she received the restraining order, she had a panic attack or a nervous breakdown and had to be taken to the ER, where they kept her until Tuesday morning. On Sunday, her sister came by the house and packed up the rest of her things to take them back to her place. I asked how Lucy was doing, but her sister only gave me some attitude. On Tuesday morning, her lawyer finally reached out to mine, and they have meetings scheduled to discuss a settlement. At my lawyer's request, I have an appointment with a therapist he recommended for later in the week. A sincere shout out to several of you who have let me vent and offered encouragement privately. The audience has some thoughts. First up, I love cheating spouses who suddenly realize they desperately love their significant others after all and want to save the marriage. If only they had cared as much before they cheated. I'm sure this isn't easy for you, but you're handling it in the best way possible. Go no contact as soon as you can. I hope the divorce goes well and you can move on quickly. All the best. Someone else chimes in, I read this exact story months ago on Literotica. It's AB2B story. I don't remember the title, but I'll let you know if I do. The tantrum during the police visit is really like she's auditioning for a role in Real Housewives, Divorce Edition. I hope she brought her A game because throwing glassware is so last season. And the restraining order? Talk about adding insult to injury. It's like getting served divorce papers with a side of, stay the heck away from me. Sorry, Lucy, there's no Oscar for best performance in a failed marriage, though I have to give her credit for creativity. Anyway, goodbye for now. Share your stories with us in the comments below, and thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.